Hello, good morning, my friends in all the Filipino around the world, my friends in China, my friends in USA, in Europe, in Africa, in Middle East. Today's topic is about a, China's actions in West Philippine Sea. So we are going to explain in my point of view why the China did the thing that uh, moving of military bases and creating infrastructure in West Philippine Sea or South China Sea. That is because, and that is very important topic to address for us to understand why it does what it does. Okay, so and also this is my point of view. However, you might have different point of view in our geopolitics right now, but maybe you can also take my point of view as a reference of what you have already in your mind. Okay, here it is. The movement of China. Okay, let's begin to the story. How was it? Uh, how was it become like that? So complicated that everything that happening now is like China is like China is the one is provoking everything to or being provocative in the West Philippine Sea. So let's look at this perspective in China's point of view, not ours. Just because if we are going to explain it in our point of view, of course we will be biased. So let's understand China in the first place. So in decades ago, China uh, was never claiming anything from that South China Sea. That is one significant to take notes. That's first one. The second one is China is not only the claimant of particular area in South China Sea. There is Brunei or Borneo, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and also the uh, PRC or People Republic of China or Taiwan. Now, you can tell today why are you only hearing China in the news, especially in the West? Of course, in the Philippines also, just because, you know, why is that? We don't hear Indonesia, Malaysia. They also have parts in that area, in that contested waters. And of course, in our news, we only hear that. Of course, we only hear that China is claiming our territory, which is of course it's not true. Just because the West Philippine Sea or the island claims by China is not inclusive our economic zone or EEZ. So it is closer, but it's not in that part in our exclusive economic zone. However, uh, it is way too far from Chinese or China lands, even in Taiwan. Now, why is that? We have to uh, look at the perspective of China. China is a rising country, and in Americans' perspective, all the rising country is a threat to their democracy. And now, if China does not claim that area, that is vital shipping lines for China to transport their goods to other country, going to uh, that particular area is very crucial shipping lines, not only for China, for US, from Europe, all of that shipping uh, for goods to anywhere in the world will come to that area. Going to Singapore, I don't know what uh, I think it's shipping lines that why the Singapore become richer country, just because the the collecting tax for the ship that enter into that canal. I think in the Singapore area, in that particular area, all the shipping lines for transporting or shipping goods to other country is will enter that. So if ever China did not claim that particular area, since USA is antagonizing China, actually the US wanted to suppress China, just because, as I said, every country or rising country is a threat to American democracy. So always America will pull down the countries that is rising. It will create whatever reason to make that country suffer to the point that it cannot handle, uh, and the progress will be halted, and yeah, will create a lot of trouble. If ever China did not claim that particular area, what will happen? The US Navy will position that area, and since they are creating animosity with China, let's say for example China is transporting that kind of goods going to Europe, going to Middle East, the United States naval uh, ship will likely to prevent that. Then it's a problem, real big problem for China. So now I hope you understand. That's my point, and that's the point of China as per se. We have to explain it in the point of China, not ours. Okay, so and that and previously, actually, China and US is not actually an enemy to each other. They're actually uh, they actually has a good relationship to each other. Let's say, for example, during World War II, the US and also actually supporting China, supplying weapons against Japan, against war versus Japanese. So actually, that what happened. And now the China is rising, and suddenly it became a threat to the United States. Why is that? So China history, it's going back to history of China, and we have to compare it against US history. China was never in wars after World War II, while US or United States of America has perpetual war after just after World War II. Their war never stopped. So started after World War, they have war in Vietnam and so on, Yugoslavia, whatever, and African continent and Middle East. So they don't stop. So now they are saying that China is liar, is bad, uh, is bad country, is whatever they say. It's it's liar, is greedy. It's just because China is building islands in South China Sea, and in that particular area, when the China is building that particular islands, where the where did the China get that soil to build that island? Actually, the truth is they get that soils in Zambales, in Philippines, during Noynoy Aquino. So you must understand that senator, there is senator going back and forth to China, backdoor negotiations. You have to find it in YouTube and other channel. I don't want to mention that names. It was senators going back and forth, back negotiation with China. In that time, the Chinese uh, reclamation of or building islands in that area is going faster. And where did the China get howling all of that soil is from Zambales. And now actually what happened during the time, we have a navy there, and it was instructed by Noy to pull back. That means it gave way to China. Okay, what I mean to say is there is something being cooked by the United States and Noy government, and there is negotiation that we don't know, that is not disclosed to the public. Secondly, there is another negotiation between Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, and I don't think being stopped after Gloria Arroyo replaced by Ninoy Aquino. That was the oil exploration research. Okay, that both government of China and Philippines has agreement for joint exploration in all of that West Philippine Sea and South China Sea. Actually, during Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, there is a ship, oil research ship, anchored in our harbor and going back and forth, especially in Palawan. It's there in the news. And after after Gloria Macapagal replaced Pinoy, it's the Chinese ship, research ship. Actually, there is also a oil rig of China moving into that particular area, but it after Noy sit as a president, that oil rig, I don't know what happened to that, just because the oil rig supposed to be used for oil research or oil exploration. Now it's being halted. It is because Noynoy Aquino, President Noynoy Aquino, at the time, I believe that he is taking the dictation from the Washington, and Noynoy does not have his own decision to be made. It is made, it is decided by the Washington. Any action he take, it is decided by Washington. That's what happened when our leader is action is uh, being being attached with something external power, some external power, or such as Washington. Any action he made is not him, is not his, it is from Washington. So now the animosity is growing, and today the China, I think it's already completed. I don't know how many islands they built already, but all of that island is military bases. And yeah, as I mentioned long while ago, it is about Chinese protection. There is uh, there is a question I want to ask you. If you are a leader of a country or a country, let's say for example, I'm gonna position yourself to China position. What will you do if your country is pushed around to the corner, surrounded by military bases? What will you do? That's the question. And that particular South China Sea is really, if we are going to compare it to United States, that's too far away. Just because right now United States is using Philippines, that Philippines is claiming that area, that Philippines should have the right to that area. But more and more, that is clearer for us today that United States of America uh, does not have interest in other parties, such as other claimants parties, such as, just because all of that claimant parties is here, uh, maybe not, maybe her allies, or not a country that is not threat to America, such as Brunei, Malaysia, uh, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Now,